What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna break down this a project that I did with a lot disclaimer with a lot of assistance. I did not sit down and just code it all out in one go like a true professional. There was a lot of assistance for me to get through all of what I needed to do. So having said that, this is the data I'm pulling from this Excel sheet, which is just overall uh, just a bunch of movie data, but a lot of movie data, and I think it's about 45,000 entries. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna break it down quickly. So I'm trying to do it as fast as I can because there's a lot. So just import what I need, read from the file, and then I just want to take a look what's going on, what the columns, how many how many values in here, what I'm looking at, how many rows. This is a just a rough quick look at what is on this histogram, where is everything kind of approximately located. The runtime is between 100 and 200, which makes sense. Is about at 100. Most movies about 100 minutes or so. So and the budgets, it's not really any. I mean, it gives you the basic idea, but it doesn't really. It's not a solid detail by detail analysis. Just rough draft. Then let's see. Let's take a look at the things that this is a import for images from HTML. Will come in handy in a minute here. So now I'm just trying to look at. Let's see. So right here we're looking at and this is in millions obviously. So the profit, Toy Story profit budget 30 million, and the revenue is 300, almost 400 million. And that's what I'm kind of trying to take a look at, the profits on each movie and what's the budget. Let's scroll we'll quickly down and take a look at. So this is just average rating, but I think uh, let me see here. Return on investment. And now let's take a look. So this is where you actually start getting decent information I was actually kind of trying to get to. So return on investment was the best for ET, which is grossed almost 800 million. And let's see, return on investment is with a budget of 11 million. So it makes sense. It's about the or it should be. And let's see, I haven't seen that movie in a long time. So yeah, it's essentially shows the best return on investment, which is apparently ET, which makes sense as well. There's there was it did dominate when it came out. It has a whole legacy, right? So that makes sense. These movies do make sense. And what is interesting is a lot of these movies they have small budgets, which technically would make sense too if I mean, if the movie gets to. I mean, there's a lot of movies that grow to 100 million. I mean, $1 billion budget. I mean, revenue, right? But a lot of them have over 100, 200 million budget. So yeah, even though they make a lot of money, right? They don't. The return on investment not might not be as good as one would think, or at least miss the eye. Okay, so let's see. Let's see the House of the Long Shadows. Okay, that's known values. Okay, so not really seeing what's. Okay, so I'm not gonna break down this because I pretty much did not code this myself. I needed to look at how this works, but it essentially is gonna help me to figure out what's the best movies in each category. So by revenue, Avatar is indeed is number one in revenue, so that makes sense. So this actually is working properly. So Titanic, Star Wars, all these movies are well-known movies that is documented. It's easy to look up. The highest grossing movie, right? Let's see. Let's take a look right now. Highest revenue movie. Let's see. Let's take a look. Avatar. Well, maybe not so accurate, but let's see. Avengers are not on the. There's Star Wars. Oh, that's Endgame. This is before the Endgame. Okay, so we can take that out. This shit came out before the Endgame. Then we got Star Wars, Avengers, Jurassic World. So that generally for when this data came out, it does make sense. It's not the most accurate at this point, but at the time, it seems like it is actually where it needs to be. So the budget. Let's see. Let's take a look. Highest budget for a movie. Let's see. Most expensive movies. What do we got? Okay. Age of Ultron. Is it Age of Ultron? This might have come out before Age of Ultron. No, it is on here. But okay, let's see. Maybe the 300. I see. We got 380. Okay, that makes sense. Age of Ultron 280, and this one says it's almost 400. Okay. Okay. The data seems to be somewhat disparaging over here. So, but Superman Returns. What? Is there a Superman here? Let me see here. Okay, so. Okay, for the budgets, it seems to be not quite the same as it is on Wikipedia, but I mean, I guess it got the gist. It got the gist. For the profit, yeah, it all makes sense for the profit. Lone Ranger, infamously, just miserably failed when it came out and got all the flack. I remember that. I don't think I've seen. Actually, was kind of curious about this movie, but since I like Fifth Element and it's the same director and kind of felt like a Fifth Element, but I never actually watched it. So, and I heard it didn't do so hot either. So I heard at least a couple of these movies. Let's see. Yeah, return on investment. We already seen that. Kind of quickly skimmed through it. Let's see. And this is, I think, the worst return on investment. So I don't think I've heard of any of these movies except The Lone Ranger, which did it horribly. So it does make sense. So this is the highest rated movies. So Inception, Dark Knight, Avatar. Yeah, they all kind of make sense. Okay, and on right here, so I was trying to do a word cloud. So I imported a word cloud, and what I needed to do is since the title, there's a lot of non-values, and I need to drop the non-values from everything, right? Because I was trying to do not only for title word cloud, but for overview and tagline. So clean out the titles, clean out the overview and taglines, make sure there's no useless non-values in there, and then we just connect all of the entire title in just one big data, right? Just one big essentially pile of data, nothing separated. Make sure and put it connected with just an empty space. So just one big line essentially. That's what it is. And then let's see, kind of do the same thing for everything. And now this is where we set up the word cloud, and this one is for the title. And we can see, let's see, man, day, love, amongst girl are the most common titles, words in the title, and let's see, that's a 100 word out of 100 words in a in this is the top. So if you're gonna if you're gonna name the most generic title will be Man Love Girl, House World, or like Man Love Girl Night Life. There you go. That's the most popular title they could ever make. Most commonly used title. And then the same thing for the, let's see, was for the tagline, which is Love, One World. Kind of makes sense. There's a lot of buzzwords that come across all, like, in the titles, overviews, taglines. So same thing with the tag. Or this was the tagline. This was an overview. They all make sense. So just not gonna really go into it. Essentially, just want to maximize the buzzwords in those things, and that's what it is. That's why I assume we have a lot of repeating words. Okay, so and then this is where I was checking for a franchise. Make sure. Okay, so check if a movie is in the category of franchise or not category of franchise. So and we don't have information for every single movie if it's like in the franchise, not in the franchise, right? So we drop those. We don't worry about those. So these we don't need these. We just drop them. So now we count how many movies are actually in franchise in the database and how many are not in franchise. So the ones in franchise, 440,000 are not in franchise. So now what we're trying to see is if the movies that in franchise, well, we need to group by them, and then we see if the movies are if franchise movies make more money on average or less money than average than non-franchise movies. So non-franchise movies usually make about 45 million, and franchise movies usually make about 165 million. So it kind of makes sense because usually that's why a lot of studios like doing franchises. They don't like doing fresh IPs because you don't really know what you're gonna get. But the franchise, if you like a franchise, second one comes out, you're like, okay, I know what I'm getting, and I like the first one. So the second one probably be kind of the similar. So you already invested before you even know what it is. You already invested. It might be a whole different movie that you don't expect, but from what you know from the first one, you kind of know what you're getting. So it does make sense that the franchises make more money because they already kind of have a positive. Well, if they're good, if it's a good movie that there was already a positive reception before the second one or third one, fourth one, or whatever comes out. So return on investment, it makes sense as well, right? There's a reason why we have franchises because if the first one does well, it's probably because there was a good return. So let's do another one, right? So and the standalone movies don't seem to be doing as well. Like I said, for obvious reasons. And let's see, that's the mean budget, and also, I think for the franchises, if the first movie, let's say, has a 10 million budget and it did well, I think studios are more willing to give a franchise like a second movie or a third movie in the franchise more money because they already know that the first one did well. So there's a good chance the second one, third one, fourth one are going to do well. So might as well invest more money to see if you can get more money out. I think that's the idea. So it does make sense, and obviously non-franchise movies have lesser budget. And let's see, what is this one? Popularity. Looks well. Yeah, they all kind of make sense to be honest. Let's see. On the average, though, the movies. Let's see. I think that's a rating, and the average rating for franchise is actually lower than a standalone movie. Which I guess usually as the movies go on, they may get more revenue, but I think they might have lesser quality to them in terms of average ratings, but they still pretty comparable. They still about the same, to be honest. So also makes sense. Let's see, now we kind of just compile all this information right here. Let's see, now kind of looking through actual franchises, to what franchises are doing good and which ones are not doing so hot. So for this one, let's see. Um, I don't even know any of this except like James Bond collection. But okay, so there's 29 entries, 27, 26, and let's take a look. Let's see. This is essentially just the basic overview of the franchises. So how many titles? What's the sum? What's the mean? Just gonna go. Let's actually take a look at. I think this is the highest number. This is doing the highest number of actual entries in the franchise. So 29, 27, 26. Okay, we're not really interested in that right now. We're interested in actual money. How much money these franchises make. So in sum, I think that's 12 billion that Harry Potter collection has accumulated out of 8 entries. Which, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And that's 8 movies. And if you think about it, James Bond has 26 movies, and it's not that much higher. And the mean it's 3 times almost higher than for James Bond. So let's take a look at top collections, top franchises. So we got Harry Potter, Star Wars, James Bond, Fast and the Furious, Pirates of the Caribbean. It all makes sense to me. This is the all one, like you've seen. These movies are always I mean, at least I know this movies make a lot of money. So and it all makes sense. Which only thing that kind of doesn't make. I thought Fast and Furious might have been higher, but it does make sense to a degree that. I mean, James Bond has a lot of entries, so just by sheer amount of volume of actual entries, that it will just. I'm not surprised it's not the highest. Actually, well, it is the highest in terms of sum, right? Let's see. Yeah, I think it. But no, I'm looking about budget. I am drunk driving. Okay, revenue. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, this is revenue. Okay. Well, I guess not. It's close. It's close, but it's not quite there. Which is, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's making way less. I was looking at the wrong column. I didn't even pay attention. But he still kind of paints the similar picture, right? So on average, Harry Potter movie makes almost $1 billion for each one. Same thing with Star Wars, but James Bond is way below, way below. Overall, it's pretty high, but yeah, it's a lot of entries. Fast and Furious. All right, kind of all makes sense to be honest. Okay, let's go on the next one. Let's see what is this. This is essentially kind of way to taking a look at this. The budgets. I don't think that this is really anything to, or not really. Already kind of looked over it. Let's see. So now this is what this does is average rating with at least 1,000 ratings, right? So the best rating with at least 1,000 ratings is Lord of the Rings, which is a highly regarded franchise. So is Godfather. Blade Runner, does it really count the franchise? I mean, really not sure what's going on here. I mean, I know there's 2 movies, but I'm not sure. It doesn't really. I'm not really seeing the count. The movie might have came out before this data. I should have probably checked what was the exact year. Let me see. Is there year information somewhere here? Okay. Yeah, I think it's a little outdated to be honest. Anyway, but even if it did come out, it's just all I know. There's no actual count of I guess it's a wild movie franchise. Let's put it that way. I mean, technically, I guess it is a franchise to a degree, but Dark Knight Collection, Guardian of the does Guardians of the Galaxy or any other Avengers franchise, or like not a standalone like Marvel movies, it's like they have their own franchise, but then they're part of the bigger franchise. And so I don't know. I guess we'll just count it counts as two, so we'll just count as two. That's all. Kingsman Collection just one. Okay, so the highest acclaimed franchise is Lord of the Rings, which makes sense to me. And I think that right here I'm trying to figure out who has the highest amount of movies. Who has directed the most amount of movies in this data. So John Ford, which I really don't know. I know some of these, but I don't know the top three. Okay, I mean I'm not a movie buff, so just quick little bar graph, and then uh this is the highest revenues. This line right here will tell me who is the highest revenue director, which Steven Spielberg, Peter Jackson, Michael Bay, James Cameron, all make sense to me. I thought honestly James Cameron would have been higher. I thought he would be probably the top tier. You know what? Let's take a look. Let's see. Highest revenue director. Okay, let's take a look. I'm kind of curious about this. Steven Spielberg. Okay, yeah. I'm not gonna count Russo Brothers since, I think this is a little dated. Well, mine is a little dated. Peter Jackson, Michael Bay. Okay, so it is kind of accurate minus this. Let's see. I keep clicking on that. Let's see. Is it Nolan in here? Michael Bay. Christopher Nolan. Okay. Alright, so that's that. Then just a quick plot. Bar graph to kind of show the revenue. And then this is, let's see. Okay, we're just going. I was just kind of testing things out here. I'm gonna ignore that. What we're looking for is this. This is where I was going to. A highest. What's the highest acclaimed director in this data, essentially, with at least 10,000 count votes on him. So we're filtering out all the one vote, 200 votes. And we're trying to get as many votes as we can for the director. So the highest is Miyazaki, which makes sense to me. He is a very well regarded director. Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson. Pretty much it's all the well known. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I'm not a movie buff, but I've heard of all of these essentially. At least looks like top 10. At least, yeah. Guy Ritchie. Yeah. Pretty much heard of, I think, most of these. You know what? Let's take a look. Most highest acclaimed directors. Let's take a look. I mean, I kind of all time. That's what we're looking for. Steven Spielberg. I think this is doing. Yeah, this is a little different. Oh, whatever. I'm not gonna waste much time, but we got what we wanted. So now I was trying to look. Who is the most popular actor? Not popular. I think highest revenue actor. So these are all connected with the pipe. So we split on a pipe, and since we split on a pipe, so we can have this as its own value. its own value. Okay, and now I'm just gonna skip this, and then I'm gonna get into that. Kind of running long on this video, to be honest. Um, okay, this is the actors that appear the most in this data, which is Christopher Lee has a lot of movies, but Bess Flowers is pretty much smoking everybody. She almost has the more movies, or at least the same amount of movies than top, well, second or third put together. Not quite there, but almost. So it's just a little bar graph to show that. And this is the, let's see, total movies, and yeah, this is just essentially shows the data based on, the amount of movies an actor been in, and how many, what's the revenue, what's the rating, and this is what I'm interested in right here. Which one thing you can kind of in this data you kind of have to discount is it doesn't really. I mean, it would be pretty hard, but it doesn't really tell you how much time has an actor spent in the movies as a like supporting actor, a main actor. You know, Stan Lee has been in pretty much all the top movies since Marvel movies do fairly gross a lot of a lot of revenue, and he's been in pretty much in every single one of them, from what I can, almost in every single one of them at least. So it would make sense that his revenue and his main revenue would be just off the charts. Surprisingly, Samuel Jackson is still keeping up. He's been in a lot of movies though. He's been in way more movies than Stan Lee. And in revenue, he's pretty close. He's pretty much been in every single Marvel movie as well. But he has been in a lot of movies that haven't really grossed that much money as well. So his mean revenue is not as high. And Warwick Davis has been in a lot of bigger. He's in the Harry Potter, Star Wars. So okay, so it kind of makes sense. There's a lot of guys who are like in the franchises, right? Stan Lee in a lot of franchises. That Samuel Jackson. There's a lot of, I don't know every single person here, but a lot of these guys are pretty much franchise guys. So, and yeah, just a little bar graph of that too as well. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got for this. And yeah, I'm just gonna wrap it up. Thank you.